Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Umar Khalid. But as we have been discussing in the last few days, and we continue to discuss because so many new and fake information comes to us from across the border, and that is why we need to debunk it and tell you what the truth is all about, what the fact is all about, what the true proper narrative is all about. We also need to debunk so many issues that have been happening within the Indian media, within the Indian government, that have been falsely putting the blame on Pakistan, even in the recent events which Pakistan has nothing to do with. And we will be discussing in detail all of that. We will also be talking about the DGISPR and the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister's briefing that was held yesterday, and the important points that were taken out of those. We will also be talking about the US State Department support for Pakistan's call for neutral probe into Pahalgam, which of course India does not support to date. Pakistan has said it since so many days. Our Prime Minister was the first to say that we need to have an impartial probe into this, but of course India has not responded to it and shows its guilt. I mean, this is just more evident than ever. And to add to that is what the Indian media is propagating, and it becomes laughable the way the Indian media is hurling lies after lies after lies after fake information, and to add to their warmongering, but also to make more and more transparent what the Indian media and the Indian government's achievements have been all about since this false flag operation. We'll be highlighting that during these 2 hours that ensue. Let me introduce my guest to you. In the studios, we've been joined by Dr. Abid Abbasi. He's a senior analyst. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, to have joined us. Dr. Saab, we'll begin with the DGISPR's and the Foreign Minister's briefing that was held yesterday. Pakistan's strategic restraint and adherence to international law has something that our DPM said during this briefing. What should be or might be the potential military and diplomatic options that are available now to Pakistan in response to India's recent provocations? And we'll come to those provocations a bit later.
Thank you very much, Omar, for inviting me in your show, this very prestigious show, and you have been carrying out the service to the country, I must say, for a couple of days, especially when this war escalation has started by India. Yes, you are rightly said that very comprehensive and based on facts briefing was given by the DGISPR and the Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, Darsa. They have categorically shown the Pakistan's stand and Pakistan's resolve on this, and the atrocities which Pakistan has faced by the killings, a number of civilians in Pakistan by the the missiles attack of the Indian, and they have given the factual position about the five planes which were shot down by Pakistani forces, and they have given some sort of evidences about them, and they have also shown their resolve that Pakistan is not a warmongering country. We have not created any war hysteria in our land. Even Pakistani media has very responsibly, objectively and impartially analyzed the situation which is prevailing there. But on contrary, the Indian media has not only created, as you said in your intro, that they have become a laughing stock, because everybody across the world is very keenly watching the situation. There are international media organizations, they have also access to so many sort of areas and so many actions which were taken, started by Indian war escalation and response of Pakistan in a very mature manner. We have not crossed the line of control even to attack their land, but we have defended our land in a marvelous way. That 5 planes we have so far, including that much propagated, much sort of talked Rafale, the plane, and even the French authorities has accepted in international media that one of our plane was shot dead and shot down, and even the still they are investigating. They are probing that how many other planes are also hit by Pakistani missiles. So this is the factual position, but at the same time, the DGISPR and Pakistani authorities very categorically reaffirm their sort of stance that Pakistan has offered India and even international community to probe into the matter in a very impartial manner by any international organizations, international agency, international force under UNO or any other sort of organization, that Pakistan is very much willing to take part, and this actually is a very bold and very crucial sort of offer of Pakistan, which shows that Pakistan has never been involved in that kind of issue. We have condemned the killing of innocent in that Pahalgam incident, and the offer of Pakistan itself shows that how much serious and how much responsible we are as a nation, that we offer if some international organization, if some international body is probing that issue, that incident, Pakistan would not be influenced that. Pakistan would not be in position to influence that if Pakistan is willing to take part in that probe, in an impartial probe. That shows the seriousness on Pakistani side. And at the same time, the DGISPR has, very categorically representing the feelings and the emotions of Pakistani people, that we are not dependent on India, that is actually creating a war hysteria and warmongering situation there. But when we have the right to respond to the brutal Indian actions, the violations of so many international conventions.
Dr. Abid, this is where I'll stop you. You point towards the question, the statement that was made by both Ishaq Dar Sahab as well as the DGISPR yesterday in the briefing. This is the same statement that has been made before as well, that Pakistan has a right to, or reserves the right to, respond at a time, place and manner of its choosing. How important is this statement? How important is this messaging for all those who can hear, including our adversary?
Even, it is for the international community that they should show the seriousness about it, because we all know that 1.5 billion population of this region is at the, living at the threshold of a nuclear war. The war is not a joke. When India would continue, that has been doing in past, that the aggression which they have exerted towards Pakistan, then what would be the option for Pakistan left? Pakistan has to defend 250 million lives of its people, and we have developed our armed forces for that very reason, that to defend the country, the territory of the country, the people of the country. And if that aggression takes place, what we should, the world is very much understanding that the option is very much with Pakistan, and still Pakistan is not showing that much warmongering kind of response, but it, seriously considering the situation and behave like a responsible nuclear state, responsible state. And when this action would take place, that is very much justified right of Pakistan, because after all, more than 37 people, innocent people, the children and the women and the people who have nothing to do with the war, they were killed brutally by Indian forces. So this is the fundamental and right of Pakistan from every international standard, every international criteria, that Pakistan should respond, and Pakistan must respond to take the the people who have been killed by Indian forces. Their blood is not so cheap that the Pakistan should not respond. And I think the international communities should know that they must play a role, because we still look at the responsibility level of Pakistan, that after having that much atrocities, that much brutal violation of international borders and international line of control as well, Pakistan is still not taking decision in a hasty manner. But Pakistan is well considering the situation, and Pakistan will, as the DGISPR has shown, that it doesn't mean that if we are a responsible state and we are looking into the matter in a responsible manner, we will not respond. This is our justified right, and we will not depend on Indian media. The way they are talking, that they have, the Indian armed forces have captured the Karachi port and they have entered into Lahore.
We'll go towards that a bit later in the show, but I'd like to understand a statement made by our Deputy Prime Minister. He says that Pakistan remains firmly committed to safeguarding innocent lives and regional harmony, unlike India's divisive policies. My question to you regarding this statement is, how should Pakistan balance its commitment to peace and strategic restraint while effectively deterring future or present Indian provocations?
This war was not started by Pakistan. We have already behaved like a very mature, nation, and regional peace and regional integrity we have kept at the very high, pedestal, because Pakistan has not started this escalation. Just after a few minutes of Pahalgam accident or incident, the FIR was launched, and the Indian media started shouting on Pakistan without any sort of iota of evidence. Anywhere in the world, any even some accident or incident took place in a superpowers, they wait for some sort of initial informations, initial investigations, some sort of proofs, then they start talking about, even the doubts is somewhere, they wait and see for the proper evidences. But unfortunately, which shows and that has been proved now, that Indian the government of which is sort of derived its ideology from RSS, that is an extremely extremist organization, or they have an Hindutva policy. They have already decided that, and this they unfortunately, due to this warmongering and hysteria-like condition prevailing in India, the lives of those 26 innocent people who were killed in Pahalgam, that has also been somewhat faded out due to this nonsense, and I must say this hysteria created by Narendra Modi. What to do with the Indus Basin Water Treaty? If you have not even iota of proof so far, and you have launched an FIR, you have put all the blames on Pakistan, and you have started actions within hours of the accident, that you have unilaterally taken, putting that Indus Basin Treaty into abeyance, that has not the right of India to do that, because this is an internationally guaranteed agreement between India and Pakistan, and without using those platforms, India unilaterally could never do that, and she will never be able to do that.
That is true, Abid Sahab, and this is what we will come to a bit later in the show, also the legal implications of their putting in abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty. I'm going to ask the same question to my newly arrived guest, Dr. Munawar Hussain, who is a foreign affairs expert. Munawar Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Of course, I see it's a Friday and you're adorned in the national outfit. I'd like to understand Pakistan's strategic advantage or superiority in the wake of the downing of the 77 Harab drones, 29 yesterday, 48 today, plus the 5 planes including 3 Rafales, 1 Su-130, 1 Su-30 and 1 MiG-29. Despite Indian denials, the international media is going all about these planes and the downing of these planes. They are more or less confirmed as well by French experts. India's claims have been nullified as far as its strategic advantage is concerned. Pakistan's voice is being heard because this is the voice of reason and truth. Does Pakistan at this moment have a strategic advantage?
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me in the show. I would say Pakistan Zindabad, Pak Force Paindabad, Nasrun Minallahi wa Fathun Kareeb. If you have cost benefit analysis of Indian move, I mean they have lost almost in all areas. For instance, their misperception was that Pakistan at this juncture is very weak politically and economically, and Pakistan is diplomatically isolated. But when they initiated this attack, that attack blew back to them. If we see, for instance, economic cost, they are bearing more than $2 billion. I mean, in international media, you are listening that about $1 billion they have lost because of their jet that were targeted by Pakistani Air Force. So Pakistani Air Force is in a position of domination. And when we say from air superiority to air domination means that Indian Air Force is not able to stand up again against Pakistani Air Force, number one. Number two, we targeted their military installations, their headquarters, and many drones that you have mentioned, the number, and cap quarters. So if you have a cost of all these damages, it would be around about $2 billion. If you say the political cost, for instance, now Indian image, Indian political behavior has emerged in international relations as a rogue, irresponsible state. because they are using war as an instrument for their political ends, because elections is going on there. Then because of this posture and because of Hindutva, they have changed the whole nature of Indian image as a secular state. And third, they are the violator of international law when they are violating sovereignty of Pakistan. And this is not the first case, but I mean they violated the sovereignty, the principle of sovereignty of Canada, US, UK, even Qatar. So therefore, they are bearing the political cost. It's the social cost. This is very serious cost. Because of this Mudadwa and such type of adventures conducted by Modi regime, they are bearing the social cost, and which is what that is the fragmentation in Indian society. Now we are observing polarization in Indian society. The minorities, they are prosecuted, and many independence movement are emerging over there. And therefore, there is a wonderful book, and I would suggest all your viewers to read that book, which is written by Khashwat Singh. I mean, he was a prominent novelist, and he wrote Train to Pakistan. He wrote a wonderful book, End of India, and it was published in 2003. And he said, because of intolerance in India, because of religious extremism, because of Hindutva ideology, India is at the verge of disintegration. Pakistanis are not saying this. I'm an Indian, one scholar, the ex-scholar and novelist, man of wisdom, wrote such a book. Then the military cost. I mean, the unprofessional decision by the Modi regime that we can equate this decision with the decision of the Operation Mosquito conducted by France, Germany and Israel against Suez Canal in 1953. I mean, the chief of British Army, they suggested the then Prime Minister, don't do this. This is unprofessional attitude. We will have defeat. And they were defeated. And by the way, that was the time when Soviet Union and America, they were at the site of the Egypt. Now look at the same situation. Air Chief, Air Vice Chief, the Northern Command, M.V. Kumar, Lieutenant General M.V. Kumar, the military head of intelligence, Lieutenant General D.S. Rana, all they suggested, don't do this. This is unprofessional, because at this moment we are not prepared for that and we would have a supply problem. But even then they went for this. So what is the result? Result is there is a disharmony in their force. We are observing this. And they don't have a will to fight against Pakistan. Therefore, they arrested 4 major key officers. I mean, that has created feeling in Indian forces that they are ready to give resignations. Then they have not will to fight against Pakistan, especially the Gorkha and the Sikh regiment. Then we are observing the civil military crisis. And this would be the outcome in near future in India, and that would be unprecedented in the history of India, that there would be a gap, a serious gap between civil leadership and the military leadership. And the most important damage that they got because of this, the bad name of Indian professional forces. Like, look at, for instance, Indian forces, I mean, their name. If you see the article which was published in New York Times and the Le Monde, the French Le Monde, they have given a report regarding inefficiencies of the Indian Air Force. And last but not the least, that very blunder by the Indians, they have given a good name to Pakistani Air Force, the Pakistani jets and the Indian jets.
That is so true. And to talk more about the jets, we've also, I mean, now we have with us Air Commodore Basit Abbasi sir. I understand something. There are file jets that have been are said to be one of the most superior aircrafts, are upped by the JF-10s and the JF-17s. A lot of military analysts are talking about now the current superiority of the Chinese aircrafts over the Rafale aircrafts. How do you see that? Is this not only a superiority of one aircraft over the other, but also the way our pilots handle the whole situation? What's your take on that?
I think it's a very, very fortunate situation for Pakistan. In this adversary, God, Allah Ta'ala has created some very great opportunities for us. Number one, we prove that the equipment we have and supplied by our iron friends, the Chinese, is no less than. In fact, any independent analyst would say that it has proved its superiority. Any weapon system, its worth is only determined on the battlefield. Because on presentations and on, you can present anything. But the real test of any weapon, any aircraft, any missile is when it is deployed, it's employed in a war theater. And Allah Almighty has given us an opportunity. The Indians have provided us an opportunity to prove the worth of our pilots, which is well known to the world, proved time and again. And the history is replete with their bravery and their valor and the legendary names we have all, we know all them, we can keep repeating them. But along with that, we have also proved the superiority of Chinese equipment. And it, at a strategic level, I think it will also strengthen our friendship. And please let me tell you that this is not the first time. There are many Chinese aircraft which were never known to the world, like the K-8 trainer. I would take the example. It's being manufactured in a Camera factory, aircraft manufacturing factory, Camera. It's a very nice trainer aircraft. The world didn't know about it until Pakistan Air Force started trying. And Alhamdulillah, it's the bravery and valor of our pilots that the regional air forces, many of them, Sri Lanka and the Bangladesh and African countries also, they look to Pakistan as to which weapon system we are using, and they go for that. So I think that's a very positive thing for our country, and I think Pakistan Air Force and the armed forces of Pakistan have actually deterred the Indian designs, and they do not know what to do. And this haphazard response of sending drones, it's a testimony to the fact that their air force is actually taking deep breaths. And I hope when they come out of this state of trauma and shock, they take some better decisions, because we are a peaceful nation. And as my colleagues have just pointed out, the DGISPR, the Prime Minister, have repeatedly sent a message of peace that this hostility should end. But at the same time, we have also reiterated that whatever has been done so far by Pakistan is a defensive action. We never took an offensive action. We engaged the aircraft because they were approaching us. So we had to defend ourselves. We shot down this drone because they violated our airspace. They wanted to sort of damage our assets and kill our people. So these are all defensive measures. We have not even taken a single offensive measure as yet. And this is a wonderful sort of, I said, a new doctrine is being written, that by only defensive measures, you have actually proved your point and sort of deter the aggression of a multi-time bigger aggressor.
All right. Also, Basit Sahab, I'd like to understand. All right, Pakistan's air superiority has been now made quite apparent, not only to India but also to the world. At the same time, a lot of people are talking about this dogfight that happened between the two sides, and how this is going to be studied by different military colleges in the future as well, which is also a very interesting aspect to it all. But what I also, as you yourself have said, the message of peace that has been reverberated by all the important leadership in Pakistan time and again, and also the message of an impartial probe that has been negated by India so far. I'd like to have your perspective on the message that Pakistan's narrative is giving to the powers that be across the world, and how is it being received, and what kind of responses are being seen in the international arenas, whether it be strategically or diplomatically.
Just compare it for a moment with what happened after Pulwama. India was able to sort of sell its lies, but somehow or the other, this time they are not able to sell their fake news, their lies, because look at the statements emanating from USA, European Union, from many countries. None of them has really sort of endorsed the viewpoint of the Indians. Their projections have not been accepted by the world. So this is a victory. It's a diplomatic victory. And military is only an extension of diplomacy. So the military has proved its point. The armed forces have proved their point, and the world has recognized that India's claims are false. And actually, it was proved categorically, beyond any doubt, when we had Abhinandan with us, and the world saw. So it's so undeniable. And with that background and what is being shown, being performed now, it's very, very clear that number one, Pakistan media and the Pakistani projections from their diplomats, their sort of ministers, prime minister, the ISPR, the media projections are realistic. They are not fake news. And I think in your program, I once said that Indians make wonderful, beautiful movies in Bollywood. And they actually, unfortunately, they have started living in that filmy, theatrical world. And they have gone away from the reality. So they think that by just projecting some false images, they can convince the world. But the world, I think, has sort of learned their worth, and they've realized that Pakistan, whatever it says, is based on facts, and whatever comes from the other sides is falsehood. This is a great achievement, I must say.
All right, all right. Abid Abbasi Saab, coming to you. Please stay online with us, Commodore, as you are a worthy asset to us, and of course this transmission as well. Abid Abbasi Saab, the Indian Foreign Secretary did a press conference with the 2 military personnel, and in that he was asked a question by one of the media people present there about whether to confirm or to deny the downing of the planes. Because he said there's so much of reports that are coming around of Pakistan having down. Would you confirm it or would you deny it? The Foreign Secretary responds that he would neither confirm nor deny, but he would talk about it in detail at a later time. How do you see that from an Indian perspective? Are the Indians still buying whatever the Indian media is pushing on their faces or in their heads? I know a lot of people have been brainwashed. I'm seeing a lot of reactions from people who used to be previously quite understandable, but now have completely become, I mean, I wouldn't say Hindutavized or BJP'd, or I don't know how would I say, but the whole mentality has changed for a lot of people. Will this continued shirking, official shirking of the reality be understood by the Indians? I'm not talking of the international media, or by the Indians themselves as also a lie that had been perpetrated by India all along since the Pahalgam false flag operation. I'll start with you.
Thank you. Yes, you rightly said it. I would quote Air Commodore Basit Raza Sahab that they starting from their films or theaters and dramas, their superiority in that field, that is being exhibited everywhere in the media, in the sort of government, in the military sort of personals who were giving briefings. And when if you look at the Indian media, they have been creating hundreds and hundreds of fake news and showing images created by AI generated images. But when a serious talk is carried out by the Indian secretary, foreign secretary and the military personals, they were having nothing to show to the world in a substantial manner or in a concrete manner. That's why they have not given the answer of that which shows, because usually we say that that silence is actually the half truth. When they said that they have neither denied that, they have not accepted that, it means that they had nothing to do, nothing to show.
Had they been clear, had they been honest about it, had Pakistan not really downed the planes, they would have said it has not downed and we can confirm that. But they did not confirm, they did not deny, because they don't want to enter into that arena.
Yes, they don't, because they do not have an iota of information about any, because that has not taken place. In fact, that is the truth is very much vice versa, that Pakistan has hit their 5 plans, and that Rafale, which was projected as unbeatable and the 5th generation and the technologically pro-max kind of plane,
was down by equally good, if not better, Chinese planes. Munawar Saab, so much of disinformation and media narratives. I'd like to just highlight 3 of them. Minister for Information Abdullah Tara rejects Indian claims about shooting down Pakistani F-16s and JF-17 Thunder fighter jet. Then it is being said in the media that a Pakistani pilot has been arrested. No details are shown. There's no name. Why isn't that name shown, like we did with Abhinandan, like we did with one of the spies that is still in our custody? And of course, then he also said that Pakistan has not targeted any location in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir or across the international border so far, because this is what Indian media has also told me, that Indian Punjab and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been targeted through different avenues by Pakistan, which is also false and which is also untrue. How do you see this continuous information and media narrative that is being perpetrated by India, and how much of this is being accepted or digested by the Indians and by the international arena?
Barsab, look, we are living in a world of narratives. I mean, this is a perspective which is given by post-modernist. And we are observing that Indians literally, they are defeated almost in all fields. So what they did, now they changed their strategy. And their strategy was, after this false flag operation, which they done by themselves within India. I mean, there are many examples of that, and they blamed Pakistan. After that, now they have initiated another plan, that is false flag situation. And that false flag situation is supported by this false narrative that they are trying to construct it. We must remember that this is not a war between India and Pakistan at tactical level, which is fought between the two armies and air forces and naval forces. But there are many other fields. One of them is narrative. Other is, for instance, cyber, space, electromagnetic field. So there are many areas where we are fighting against each other. So since they are losing ground internationally, because no responsible power in international system is ready to buy their narrative, so they have this strategy of developing a false situation. Now, question is why they are doing this. They are doing because they are in a dilemma. They are in a crisis situation. And what is crisis situation? There are three elements in crisis situation. Element of threat, element of surprise, element of short time to response. Element of threat, for instance, they saw, they observed, they thought that Pakistan is a weak state. Pakistan is isolated. But Pakistan responded beyond their imagine and showed a very immense capability that we can hit not only your 4.5 generation fighter jets, but we can make your strategy fail, that we did in the case of when they attacked with their drones in order to point out the Pakistani air defense system. So we are smart enough to, I mean, we made their plan failed. Second element of surprise. I mean, they thought that Pakistanis, they would not respond with the full power because they are in a state of fear, and they are isolated and they are weak.
That also is something we will talk about later, state of fear that Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. The third important is the element of short time to response. Now, their fear is that if Pakistan in defense can inflict a major injury to their military forces and air forces, and if Pakistan is going for retaliation as per Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, what would happen? So therefore, they are in a dilemma. So in that dilemma, in that fear, they are developing new strategies, which is known as false flag situation, which is frankly speaking rejected by the people of Amritsar, the people of Srinagar, and the international newspapers. They are rejecting this narrative because I already quoted the articles which are publishing in New York Times and French and other European and Middle Eastern media outlets. They are rejecting their narrative, by the way.
All right. Commodore Saab, coming to you. When it comes to Pakistan's narrative building, our information minister called on the international community to take note of India's fabricated claims. What steps are now needed to be taken by Pakistan on different arenas in order to expose these lies, these blatant lies, these false narratives, these false flag operations that even now are being conducted in different parts of India, and the blame being put on Pakistan on different global platforms? What's your take? How should or how could Pakistan move forward?
I think this is the domain of our diplomats, and I think they are doing a good job. I saw an interview by our ambassador in the United States. I would like, and I'm sure they must be doing, I'm not aware of it, write articles in newspapers, come on television, so that the public is educated. We must keep talking to the counterparts. Our deputy foreign minister, our foreign minister has been doing that. We have actually talked to so many of his counterparts during last 6-7 days. So this is what we can do. And I think here's a message I want to say, that our people, alhamdulillah, there were some sort of differences amongst our people, but now the whole nation is rallying behind the armed forces. And this is the most positive signal that we can give to the world. And I would suggest that this spirit, this spirit is the winner. And the armed forces need backing of our people. They are behind us, but we want them to do more, to show their appreciation more, to show their sort of support and backing more. And let me also take a minute and tell you that this drone warfare is a new phenomenon. And some people, look, it is not possible for a common man to understand. It takes even professional to understand what are the capabilities of drones. They're so quickly evolving and they're so quickly changing. Every day there's a new, we heard of Iranian drones, Mohajir and Shaheed and all those Turkish drones, even the countries which were not sort of main producers. But the fact is that our people know little about what it takes. So yesterday there was some anxiety. It was some anxiety in my home also. My wife asked me that what is happening, how could they come inside? So we must tell them that this is a tactic. We actually intentionally let them come in. It's not that they were not visible to us.
Psychological warfare, sir.
Exactly.
I said, sir, this is part of what they feel is a psychological warfare.
Yes, that's right. So actually, our nation, our countrymen must understand that Alhamdulillah, Rabbul Alameen proved so many times. We don't want to say it in words. Our actions have proved so many times that we know what is to be done. So please trust that the defenders of our frontiers, the aerial, the sea fronts and the land fronts, they're all capable. They understand what is there, what is happening, and what action they have to take. Inshallah, they have never disappointed you in the past, and they will never disappoint you in future. Have faith in Allah. We all have faith in Allah, and we all have faith in our armed forces. And inshallah, with the support of our masses, we'll deter anything. We are capable of doing it. We are determined to do this. We are sort of, Allah Ta'ala has endowed us with the spirit of jihad. And that is one thing. We talked of weapons, the superiority of weapons and comparison weapons. But this is what is the most veritable asset of Pakistan. The spirit of fighting in the path of Allah and when they are on the right. And we only fight when we are on the right. We never fight on falsehood. So that is what our assets is. Thank you.
Definitely, that is what it is, sir. Dr. Abid Abbasi, when it comes to false narratives, this false narrative has also been propagated to different AI videos. We've had AI videos of our DGISPR saying one thing and then the audio was saying something totally different. We've had other videos of supposed areas in Pakistan that have been destroyed, and those videos were circulated on different social media platforms, and that got a lot of people very anxious in Pakistan, because of course the basic modus operandi here is you receive it through different social media platforms, WhatsApp and others, and you forward it, you don't see whether it is true or not, and you get scared, and then you forward it to 100 more people who also don't test the veracity of the whole information, and that, you know, spin balls into something else. How important is for the public in Pakistan to also understand what is true and what is not?
Very rightly said that the Basit Saab and previously Dr. Munawar has highlighted in a very objective manner. They actually wanted to create a panic among the people of Pakistan by sending these drones. The multiple purposes, they were getting informations of the installations, and at the same time, in the public places, they wanted to create a fear and panic among the people of Pakistan.